Well, we are counting down the hours to the 2023 Rugby World Cup Final. Defending champions South Africa take on New Zealand at the Stade de France on Saturday for the ultimate prize in World Rugby. SABC News reporter Simon Burke and video journalist Themba Ntshobodi are covering this story for us. Let's now speak to Simon. Good morning. Thank you so much for making time for us. So we're just over 24 hours before that final kicks off. What's the atmosphere like? And have you noticed any difference from the time that you arrived in France?
Well, much like most of these capitals in the European cities of culture, there's not much to speak of. A lot going on in these cities, and a big rugby match between South Africa and New Zealand not creating quite the buzz we thought it would at the moment. It's pockets. If you walk around and you look hard enough, you'll find some South African supporters, but that is about it. It's also very cold now. The weather's dipped, and for a Bok Friday, for us who are wearing our Springbok jerseys, we're having to brave the cold, but that is what life is like for Springbok supporters, and that is how you go about representing your country when you are far from home. And I have a supporter with me, Gideon from Johannesburg. He's also braving the cold in his shirt sleeves, in his short sleeves, but wearing the green and gold is what is important when you're out and about. Gideon, are you at all amazed by the lack of hype there is with this World Cup match, this final on the horizon?
Most definitely. I mean, if we started off with the first two games that we watched, everyone was so in a maze of what's going on, and since England's out, it's just been dying down. So it's very sad, but I think this weekend's going to be very great, and I think we'll have an excellent game. The boys have shown over the last two games, France and England, that they can pull it through. So let's hope and see.
Have you been out and about seeing the sights? I mean, it's an incredible city, obviously, a lot going on. Do you think that could be the fact that there's so much going on in the city that once it comes time for the final, then yes, all the attention turns there?
Most definitely. This city's got everything to offer, the history and all of those things that goes with it. We've spent a whole week here going up and down, traveling, doing some sightseeing, using the trains. Everything's amazing. And we were at a pub last night where they showed a bit of rugby, and you can see here and there was some New Zealand supporters. So I believe on Saturday the vibe will be good again.
Coming to a country that does have a proud rugby tradition, that does count for a lot. And the Springboks, the South African supporters, are welcomed by the French, even though we did kick them out of their own World Cup.
Yeah, most definitely. I think they'll hopefully support us above the New Zealand. It was just a bit sad to see how England supporters reacted after we won the game. But I suppose that's it. We would have been probably the same. But yeah, let's see.
I doubt whether we would have been quite as bad as the English. However, we have got a team for Saturday. What do you make of it, Gideon? It's heavy in the forwards. We're going to our strengths. Does this bode well against New Zealand?
Well, I think New Zealand's very strong up front. So 7-1, I think we're a bit bold. But I mean, that's what Rusty's been about the whole time, is being bold. And it worked so far. So let's just hope that we don't get any injuries really at the back. But then we'll pull it through. I'm pretty sure we will.
Absolutely. As Jesse Creel said, you got to risk it for the biscuits.
That's it. Thank you very much.
So there you go. It's positive, it's hopeful, it is quiet here on the Parisian streets. The morning traffic working its way through the city. The Springbok supporters rising, some still arriving at the airport. We'll get hold of a few more as and when they come through. It's just a bit odd that when you are in these big cities and you think you're here for the main event, it turns out there are several main events throughout every day, and the World Cup Final, as it appears in Paris, is just another event. However, for South Africa, for New Zealand, and for most of the rugby world, this is the highest echelon of culture and enlightenment that you can get when you're in Paris.
Yeah, and certainly also considering that our president will be jetting off to France as well with the hopes of lifting that Webb Ellis Cup. But just quickly in conclusion, Simon, yesterday Ian Foster also announcing his squad that will be taking on the Springboks. What do you make of the one change that was made to the team?
Well, I mean, it's just setting the stage for such an incredible encounter, both teams playing to their strengths. It is something we've seen throughout the years, the epic clashes between South Africa and New Zealand. World Rugby, well, if they could bottle this and send it around the world, they would. This is the kind of product that really does win over new supporters. You'd think that places like the American market, who are so into the NFL, the Australian markets that are split between Aussie rules and rugby league, this is the sort of match to sell to them, to show them what rugby is capable of. And World Rugby should just be thanking their lucky stars. New Zealand, South Africa on song. It's a beautiful, beautiful sight, and it's going to be an incredible spectacle.
Thank you so much, Simon Burke there on the 2023 Rugby Cup Final. And we're asking you this morning, considering the team that was announced yesterday by the Boks coach, that is Jacques Ninaba. What do you make of that team, and do you think it is the right combination to get us to retain the trophy that we won back in 2019?